keep coming back until you finally get to a point that the old you gives up because you've accepted the new you. So I go into January 2025. I'm reformed, I call it. I'm reformed, right? I got a video yesterday and I really worked on the new me, okay? The new me. And I sat there and said, Sheena, you and Matt are at this level right now. You never had a background in this. You were a single mom when you started doing this industry. You had every person, whether directly or indirectly, try to convince you that you're not going to have the life that you want, that your kids are not going to have the things that they want. You overcame all of that, but do you think that's it? See, so many times people have goals, but the thing is, like, once one goal is achieved, you got to go to the next one. So let me give you a goal. Your goal is to get to MD. You know why? Because MD will get you at least $100,000 of income a year. And then you got to have a next goal. My next goal is what? Now I got to make $100,000 a month. Then my next goal, I got to make $1 million a year. The next goal, I got to make $1 million a month. And then when I make $1 million a month, guess what I want to go next to? I got to make $2 million a month. And then $3 million. And when does it stop? It's not supposed to stop. That's what I'm saying. Every level is you reaching your full potential the way that God created you. That's why you don't stop. But you know why you stop? Because the old you keeps trying to suck you in. Every time, trying to convince you. And then all of a sudden I make all this money and then I revert back. I go backwards. Because you think the war stops after 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. I promise you, we've been doing this for 10 years. I tend to be very annoying to our sidelines. We annoy them. You know why? Because we don't stop. So we force them not to retire. They have to come back and build a base shop. They have to come back and build a hierarchy. They realize they can't stay comfortable at number one because Sheena and Matt are not done. We keep going. We keep going. We're not stopping because I'm convinced. You know what's the most annoying thing to people around you that want you not to be that way? Because you keep thinking you are that way. You ever see somebody who has a high level of success? You know the crazy thing about it? They have a high level of confidence and a little bit of arrogance. Not cocky, but arrogant. You know why? Because they choose to believe that this is where they're supposed to be, no matter what or anybody else says around them. They're very good at ignoring the noise. No distractions, just stay focused. I'm always positive. You never wonder why that's the best people to be around? You know the worst people to be around? Negative people. Victims. So then why do you keep doing it? How come you're not aware that that actually affects you? I go to new recruit. Hey, new recruit! You're going to go through the snare of disaster. If you go around your current friends and family and they're not making the kind of income, living the life that you want, you're going to understand that they're going to try to convince you to go back down. But then that new recruit has to make a decision that over time, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, they might not be hanging around those friends and family. It's hard for them. You know why? They're fighting their old them. And then somehow, some way, you get convinced that the old way of doing it is the right way to do it. And instead of saying, man, I'm noticing that I'm building a team. I got to MD, I got to SMD, I got to EMD. I'm reaching these incomes where the people around me have changed too. Because when your income changed, so does the people around you. If your income hasn't changed, you haven't changed the people around you. They're affecting you, but you don't realize it. So I'm going to go over this. Just like I processed 2025. I said, man, what does it take to perform at the highest level? Well, you got to start thinking about it. So I've been saying this to our hierarchy all year. They've heard it. I'm going to keep repeating it because repetition is the best way to change the way that you think. Okay, you got to hear it over and over and over again. So there's 3 things. Number 1, take this book called Think and Grow Rich and read it. And when you're done reading it, which should take you about 14 to 17 days, read it again. And then when you read it again, I want you to do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. I want you to read it over and over and over again for 12 months straight. Because so many times people think hearing and listening are the same thing. See, I could hear something, just like when you were a baby, when you were born, you came out the womb, did you know your name? No. You had to hear it. Did you have to hear it once? Did you have to hear your name twice? You heard your name so many times until the hearing became what you call listening. See, listening is emotional. You emotionally connect to it. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, that's my name. Well, how on earth do I change the way that I think? You have to go from hearing to listening until you're emotionally attached to what your future is. So my future is, I'm going to be the first generation millionaire in my family. Do you think you got to say it one time? You got to tell yourself over and over and over again, because right now you're just hearing it. You're hearing it. You're not emotionally attached to it because you don't believe it yet. But then when you get to listening to it, you're listening because things start to happen, right? And now I'm really listening to it. So number 1, take that book and read it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Most people can do it probably for 30 days, then you'll quit. You know why? Because the old you will tell you to stop doing it. you'll see that war start to happen with you because you actually are feeding your subconscious with a new way of thinking. Actually, it's not even a new way of thinking, it's actually how you're supposed to think. But you've been fed lies for a long time. I have to go take this class in history, I gotta read this stuff, read these chapters, go take this test. That defines me. You read that, what, one time? Who remembers what they read in high school? You didn't, but you know what you do remember? The things that get repeated to you. I don't have enough money, money doesn't grow on trees. A grade defines you, you're never gonna graduate. You're tardy, you're late, I'm gonna tell you when to go, when to not go. You're constantly fed these things growing up, and you don't realize that in order for you to actually get the goals that you want, you gotta change that thinking. So number one, read the book over and over again. Number two, this is the hard one for people. You need to create a journal every day. And anytime you feel something negative, you gotta write it down. Now, if you have an iPhone, you're gonna be a step ahead. If you have an Android, I'm sorry for you, okay? So iPhone has the notes, and the notes you can lock them, right? Make them private notes, right? And you write down, man, I'm feeling negative. This thing irritated, this gave me doubt, this gave me fear, this gave me anxiety, money is worrying me. You know what you start to realize? I'm not saying fix things, because in order to actually change something, you have to be aware of who you are. You don't know who you are right now. Now I could tell, hey, this person hit MD, this person reached a ring, they are changing. But so many people get stuck. They get stuck because they don't realize who they are right now. You gotta figure out who you are. How do you know who you are? Start creating a journal, you'll figure out who you are. Your subconscious is 95% of what drives your behavior. You're not even aware of who you are. Because whoever you are got you to where you are right now. And if you don't like it, you gotta change who you are. So you start taking a daily journal. Man, I'm irritated, what am I thinking about? Man, I'm frustrated, what am I thinking about? I have anxiety, and I realize after a day, after I review it, I think a lot about money. And not an abundance of money, I think lack of money. Interesting. I gotta change that because that's showing me what consumes my thoughts. What consumes my thoughts forms my habits. What forms my habits forms my behavior. So then when I go and approach a prospect, I don't have the courage to prospect them because I already think I'm limited. Isn't that interesting? So now I create the journal. And then I say, I'm gonna fight this. So number one, you read a book for 12 months straight. Number two, you make a journal every day, logging your emotions for 365 days. Most people will only do it for, 15 days, and they'll stop. Great. You're not changing at all. I can give you the best strategies in the world. I can give the most inspirational talk ever. But if you don't change the way you think, you won't achieve the things that you want. You gotta change the way you're thinking. But you don't know change the way you think unless you know exactly who you are and what you actually currently think about. So then the third thing, you have to fight that journal by creating what they call a war room. I don't know if you know what that is or can relate to it. I'm a very big believer in creating a special room inside your house, a closet, something that you can close, something that's a hideaway. And so what I ended up doing, I said, man, I'm gonna create a vision board, right? 12 million a year income, private jets, JoJo with the football jersey, Chicago Bears with Sapaula in the last name, boom, 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 boom. I'm creating it, right? The visuals. And I hang it in my war room. What I recommend for most people, I also hang affirmations on money because I'm very good at having negative affirmations on money. Why not place it with positive affirmations? And then all of a sudden I wanted to put pictures in that room of Dior purses and Chanel purses because I realized I do like purses. I do. Thank you, Moran Tigran, for the Gucci purse. It made me love purses. I love it so much. Not shoes yet, Marlene. I still like sneakers more than heels. I haven't done that yet, but I'm evolving. I'm working on myself. Okay. So you put all these things. I like to travel, blah, blah, blah. And then I put scriptures, right? Power of a praying wife, power of praying parent, because I noticed that most of my thoughts revolve around worrying about my kids. I worry about things that haven't even happened yet. Oh my gosh, I got an email from the teacher. Is he gonna go to jail in the next 5 years if I don't fix this behavior? It's just ridiculous, okay? We tend to go there as mothers. So I had to start creating a room, and then when I realized that I even ordered, those lights that when they light up, it creates like the universe in the room. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Woo, right? So then I started to realize I have a fun time going into this room every day. But I also realized the reason I have so much fun going into this room because as time went on, it was evolving to the new me. And I was more attracted to being around me, that's the new me, versus staying the way, which is the old me. So when I went in there, all I did was visualize. I was happy, boom, boom, and then all of a sudden I walk out of that room. That's how I start my day. Things start to happen. Part of affirmations, I am attracting competitive couples. It's amazing. Every prospect that I talk to, I enjoy the conversation. I'm replacing every negative thought that I've ever had on my daily journal with positive affirmations in that room. And I sit there and I visualize and I look and I visualize and I look and I look and I visualize, boom, 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 boom. And then things start to happen. It's kind of fun. But again, you're excited. Sheena gave you something. It's amazing. Will you do it? I have no idea. But I'm just telling you, you will never achieve the things you want until you change the way you think. And if you don't change the way you think, you got to first understand how you think. Because you're going to leave here, you're going to be jacked up, excited, and create a war room. I probably already ordered Think and Grow Rich on Amazon, buy now, right? And then you say, man, every day I go by, things are starting to be negative around me. Guess what? Because the old you refuses to let you go. It's going to hold you so tight that it's going to trap you exactly in this place. I got to stay here, and you got to fight it. You're going to go through a war when you leave here. You're going to go through a war. But let me tell you the good news about it. You fight it, and life is good. I find enjoyment in certain things. I have my happy moments, my memories. Some of my funnest memories I'm going to show you, okay? My kids are my pride and joy. So there's my beautiful, handsome husband, my two boys, got Jojo and Jordan. My firstborn is now officially about 5'11", and he's only 14 years old. So he's going to be a big boy. So my little one is Jordan. The goal's not done. So let's talk about what it means to play at the highest level. Number one, you got to outwork everyone. You do. Michael Jordan, and this is why we named our son Jordan, but he exemplifies what it takes to be performing at the highest level. I'm asking you guys to really seriously assess your life and go into 2025 saying, if I'm not an MD, who's not an MD yet in this room? You see how my language is so clear? Yet. You have to commit to now achieving that, because until you do, you won't understand what I'm saying when your paradigm is going to fight you. You think going from trainee to associate to FA director is something simple? No. Every level, you're going to be challenged. That's why ultimately when you make it to MD, you've officially now convinced yourself, your new self, got rid of the old self just a little bit, that you can make a minimum of $100,000 a year doing this. That's what MD tells me. But in order to do that, you got to outwork everyone, starting with the people around you. Ooh, compete every day. So here's Jordan. There's this one thing that his teammates said about him. He said, let's not get it wrong, he's an a-hole, he's not a nice guy, he was a jerk. He crossed the line numerous times, but as time goes on, you think back to what he was actually trying to accomplish. Yeah, he was one heck of a teammate. Are you one heck of a teammate? Because please don't affect me. When I say affect me, I'm also meaning infect me. So I'm not asking you, I just don't need you to stop. If you stop, I gotta run away from you. You know what I mean? Because if you stop, you're convincing me to stop, because subconsciously you're feeding it into my mind, and the way that you talk, the way you act, your habits are going to infect me. I gotta get away from you. I gotta get around people that want to compete, because then if you compete, I'm attracted to that. Now, I might not like you all the time because you're gonna compete and poke me, but I love you for being that way, because you're one heck of a teammate for me. So, now this is the one you bounce back from failure. Now, the people that don't is because you look at failure as failure versus as an opportunity. So write down a failure and then write down what you learned from it. Shape it from a negative to a positive, because if you look at Jordan's stats, 9,000 shots in his career, he's lost over 300 games, 26 times he's been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed it. Do you think that's affected his confidence? Okay, you have how many people that you've talked to and you just give up because what? They didn't say yes? You've had how many people come on your team and they quit and they didn't say, I'm going to keep going? Well, why did you stop? Oh, I gotcha. Because their paradigm is more powerful than yours. They convinced you. Stay focused under pressure. I mean, this is where going into that war room should be the necessity that you guys do every single day, because until you get good at going back to imagining what life should be like, you will always sink into reality of what life is right now. Inspire and elevate others. Okay, identify one way you can lead. Not by comparing it, but just Can you outwork somebody? Can you show up the earliest? Can you be predictable? Can you have most people coming to the meeting? What can you do? Always strive for more. This is going back to what I'm saying. I'm telling you, you're gonna feel like exhausted. I just got to MD, I'm tired. I'm tired. No, you're not. You're not tired. You're just embracing what it is to actually feel great. And you just haven't felt it in a while. And I just want you to inch forward, inch forward, inch forward. And then this one, you can't believe in yourself unless you know who you are. I'm just saying. So then the daily journal comes in handy. I sit there and I understand and I study how I think right now. And then I have to go create a war room with the exact opposite. That war room should be ever evolving. Now, I process this. So for those that raised their hand, they said, hey, I'm gonna go after MD. Well, you also have to keep this in your mind. I wanna go over, there's some logical things that you're gonna learn every level that you go up until you hit MD, but there's also the emotional part that I'm trying to get you to understand you're gonna have to go through. You can't skip around it. Okay, let's start with the baby. I start with PHP, I'm a trainee. Right, you're a baby entrepreneur. Look how cute that baby is, right? Cute little baby. And I gotta go get 3 recruits, submit 3 applications and 3,000 points. But this is why baby entrepreneurs can handle it. Because most often not, it's the easiest thing you're gonna do. But during that time, you're gonna learn basic product knowledge, awesome. You're gonna have some activity where you're gonna develop some prospecting skills. You're gonna learn that there's a system. And you're gonna have the beginning stages of building confidence. But guess what the emotional side is? That you have to go through. When I say have to, guess what? You have to go through it. You're gonna have to deal with what the fear of rejection really has been doing to your whole entire life. You gotta understand, I have a lot of self-doubt because if I'm really taking what Sheena is saying and I'm journaling my process as I go from one level to the next, I realize that I have a lot of self-doubt. I gotta fix that. And the imposter syndrome. Am I qualified to build a team? I mean, I want to, but I don't feel like I'm good enough. Like you say that so much that you've convinced yourself you're not good enough. So then you attract not good enough people.
Wow.
How do you handle skepticism? Do you let it go into your subconscious or do you stop it? Oh no, I'm not gonna accept it. Do you know what I love the most naive person? They just don't accept it. And then look at number 5. No joke, you gotta learn to be somebody else. And you're gonna struggle with discipline. And the discipline that you're struggling with is a reflection of the old you fighting against the new you. What do you mean I gotta wake up on Saturday morning? I gotta go for the Tuesday meeting? After the meeting? After the meeting? After the meeting? That meeting is now 11 o'clock. Oh my gosh. I gotta get up for work because I realize that work is more important to me now. What? No. That meeting after the meeting is way more important because that environment is so healthy for you because all it's doing is feeding your subconscious with a new way of thinking. The reason that you're thinking that way is because the old you is convincing you that you gotta go wake up early to be at work. That's not giving you the life you wanna give. If anything, you should think the opposite. No, I don't wanna, I'm good. I have to go to work. I wanna stay here. I wanna stay here. I love it here. Give me more of this. Because your subconscious takes in 95% of what controls your behavior. So you going to those meetings actually is very powerful, but you want to spend more time at work. So go ahead, go to bed. Go to bed, wake up early, and live that life that you don't want to live. Okay, you battled through it, you got to associate, now you got to go after field associate, which is the real way, 10-10-10, right? Because some ways, if you discounted it, you cheated what you learned. You didn't get it. You got an associate +1. Okay, so you can really evolve. Well, if you got it the discount way, my challenge is get it the real way, and look what you're about to learn. Because you gotta have 10 people on your team. Oh, that's scary. So then I have to keep working at my skills. I have to actually be consistent. I gotta know how to handle objections because I just got over how to handle self-rejection. And then I gotta learn how to be good with clients and treat them with respect and be a professional. And I gotta learn that accountability is good. But the emotional things, I have increased responsibility. I feel anxiety. Can I keep this up, this pressure to perform? The fear of letting people down because I've so long realized that failure is not good. Instead of making an affirmation that failure is awesome, bring me more of it. Because I learn the most. Look how I think differently even about failure. And then I gotta balance confidence and humility. Because I've learned that I have to get a 4.0 GPA and get an A all on my grades, that's perfect, versus realizing that Jordan missed how many shots? Interesting. Dealing with inconsistent results, because you realize in order for you to be consistent, you gotta first realize that you are inconsistent. What you are consistent with is the old you. Consistently broke, consistently negative, consistently skeptic, consistently doubting, consistently operating in fear. But then I want to change the new way of thinking. Consistently optimistic. You know how you be around someone who's just happy? It's fun to be around them, right? I want how you think, right? And then you go to the big one. Field associate to director the real way, okay? Not the associate plus one. Okay, what do you learn? Okay, this is the beginning stage of knowing that you can't recreate the system. You actually just need to run it to scale it. You gotta learn to delegate and trust people. You gotta prioritize activity over potential. I love people, but I gotta spend time with the 20% of people that have convinced themselves they're willing to change their paradigm. You know what? The way that I look at people, I will work with you if I'm convinced you're willing to change. How do I know that? We're about to test it. Your first test is associate. Let's see how this goes in the first 30 days. Lead by example, start to build a culture. See, what I don't want you to do is build a culture based off the new you, old you. I want you to build your culture on the new you. Well, they keep telling me to read. Yeah, I know. It's important. Okay? And then the emotional side of it. There's emotional growth to it because the pressure of leadership forces you to grow. You're gonna have to do this. Then you gotta balance your personal and your team goals. So then what tends to happen is you're so used to going to a job where the person at the top of the, is it a pyramid? Well, kind of looks like one.
Exactly.
But they get to reap the benefits of the underworked and let me repeat that. Overworked and underpaid. So then you start to apply that to your team. You want your team to deliver all the work. That's what I mean by you gotta change. Like I gotta lead by example. So I'm gonna balance the fact that I'm gonna tell you to do something, but I will also always do it myself. And then you gotta let go of control and learn how to handle setbacks, because I've realized at this level, I finally convinced myself that the failures are good. The minute you realize failures are good, once you convince yourself that that's the case, watch what starts to happen. And then you detach yourself emotionally from outcomes. What do you mean by that, Sheena? Say you don't get the outcome you want. You get emotional, right? How long do you stay there? It's good if the emotion's good. It's not good if the emotion's bad. How long do you stay there? How good are you at getting out of bad emotions? That's what you're gonna be tested on. How good are you at getting out of those bad emotions? Because you definitely are gonna have setbacks. I don't know how else to tell you. I mean, I don't know anybody that's achieved marketing director without setbacks. How do you handle it? Are you a victim now? Are you gonna blame? I missed it. It's home office's fault. Seriously? Come on. And then you inspire people, then boom. You're like right at the finish line, right? Here we go. We're going after it. Here we go. But once you get there, it's pretty cool, isn't it? I started to Google, I say, what is the top paying professions if I were to go the old way? Go to school, get a degree, get a job. I could be an IT manager, I could be an anesthesiologist, I could even be a lawyer. Look at how many years of training. The key word, what is it training you on? It's training you on a way of thinking. We've been trained for so long on how we think right now, and these folks, as great as they are, I really appreciate them. I don't want to think like them though. I don't. And the reason is because if you go look at the bottom, it's called what they make. But that's not going to give you the life that you want. Oh, but Sheena, money's not everything. Oh, who said that? You can be convinced on that. I'm not. I've had problems without money, and I like problems better with money. I promise you, it's awesome. Just kind of takes away a lot of stuff, right? So go ahead, convince yourself, oh, money is not important. Where'd you get that thought?
Wow.
It's not important to have things. Who said that? It's not important to have a big house and fly in a private jet. What's important is relationships. Who said that? How come I can't have both? I don't believe it. You do. You got to stop believing these things. But if you go with PHP, develop the culture, be intentional about changing your mindset, you hit marketing director, guess what? You get access to GB, and look what kind of income you can make. Now, you can choose to do this in 12 years because that's the old way of thinking. Some of you think it takes 12 years. You know why? Because how long were you in school? How long did it take you to get your bachelor's? You think it should take that long. It should only take 6 to 12 months. It should only take 6 to 12 months. Maybe there's a fear of making the kind of money like this because what you're going to convince yourself, what you're scared of, is that the way that you thought to make this kind of income was this way, but no, it's actually this way, and this way is actually shorter. More doable. So then, ownership. You own your life now. You can achieve your dreams. Your leadership skills are good. You're building sustainable systems. You're driving consistent results. You have a vision of what's the next level. You feel like you belong somewhere else. You start to get good with knowing that money starts to control, not me, but I control money. And then you develop emotional resilience. Things don't affect you at MD like they affected you at trainee. Facts. I'm okay with accountability. I have so much patience because I've dealt with so many chokeable people. And so I'm patient. They didn't want to be coachable, they wanted to be chokeable. But then through the failures, the setbacks, the trial and the errors, I realized what I was trying to do was trying to change their way of thinking, and they didn't want to. And then I realized I gotta then say, bless your heart, let me know when you're willing to change, and go find the ones that are. I didn't get hung up on people like most people do. And they linger in that feeling of resentment and anger towards somebody, and that only hurts you. And then you realize I gotta go look to manage to inspire people, not manage to control them. And then boom, magic starts to happen. And so here we are, guys, January of 2025. What do you want to do this year? Now I know for a fact, MSM wants to produce 200 new marketing directors. You know why? Because that's 200 new mindsets, 200 new ways of thinking that will affect everybody so that there is going to be a day you're going to see it. Wow, that's, how many people are making $1 million and more? And none of them. They're just, what? How many African Americans and Hispanics are making $1 million? Wow, that's crazy. We have some Caucasians in there too. Yeah. We do. And then people start paying attention to this. You know, they say, hey, how do we change the lives of others? Change your life first. And then when so many people sit there and say, man, millionaire, 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 we're going to create an environment that it's normal to be a millionaire. Right now, it's not normal because we don't have new mindsets right now. So my challenge to you, if you're not an MD, commit to being an MD because you realize what it really means. It doesn't mean just a promotion. It means you are fully committed to changing and that you officially changed. And get ready because once you realize what you're capable of, it's going to be amazing. Incredible. And then we're going to start to have one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, millionaire, 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 millionaire. And then what happens to our company? We explode. What happens to our demographics? They start to change the way they think. And remember I said, you're going to be the first. I'm saying don't be the last. This is not what we're just doing for our generation, ladies and gentlemen. We're setting the tone for the next generation. You saw what my son did. That's a reflection of us doing this business for 10 years. He reminded me what I've been fighting for 10 years. I've been fighting the old way of thinking. He reminded me of that. My challenge to you guys is you go and you leave here. Read the book, do the journal, create a war room, and fight the fight. But no matter what, you either are going to become an MD, or if you're an MD, guess what your responsibility is? To promote them. That's one goal and one mission and one crusade that we live by, is to bring financial freedom back to the middle class, bring hope through free enterprise, and make our communities look, think, and act about money so differently to create the life that they want Because when good people make money, good things happen.
That's good.
That's my time, everybody. Thank you guys so much.